Welcome everyone. This is Peach the kitty cat, and she is helping me get some pages out for my new digital kit, which I will be showing you all. The kit is available on Etsy, and there's 4 different versions. So I wanted to make sure that there was a little bit of something for everyone, regardless of your budget or the kinds of paper crafting or journaling you like to do. So if you want a complete kit that you can put together with lots of pockets, it's just a little folio. You could use it to store ephemera, you could use it to store something else, and just have the journaling cards and the tags that go in it. That is the folio kit, and in just a moment I'm going to pull out the prototype that I have that shows you, there it is, the exact folio. So it opens up to essentially 3 pages, lots and lots of pockets, and then the journaling cards and tags you see in this one are not exactly the same ones that you'll get. You can see everything actually on Etsy when you look at the kit. This was the final prototype I made before I made a few changes. Those pretty close. So in addition to that folio, you can also buy an add-on pack that just contains ephemera, like what you see here, in a variety of tags, tickets, labels, anything you can think of, and some large journal pages, like this old dictionary page here. So that is also an option, and it's available separate from the folio kit if that folio is not your style. If you like them both, there's a combo. And then if you really want a great deal, there's a mega pack. And actually, the pages that I'm going through right now are a slight color variation. You probably noticed they're a little bit different colored from the folio I originally showed. And that is one of 3 additional colorways that are available as part of the mega pack. So you can get the folio itself, which is that orangey color, and the add-on pack for it, or if you want to play around and have a bunch of different colors available to you, the mega pack is definitely the way to go. So this is going to end the voiceover portion, walking you through all of the different kit options. I will have a link to the kit, the Etsy shop, with this video. But now we're going to switch over to me actually working live on the folio. All right, I'm going to sit down here at my messy desk and put together one of these delightful folios so I can show you how to do it. And I'm going to use one of the alternate colors. So you already saw a quick little flip through of the kit, and that shows you all of the add-on ephemera. I didn't include the backing pages, although they are primarily either part of the poison ledger itself, and for the record, I did actually, let me grab the poison ledger. All right, so the whole kit stems from this, which is this wonderful, grungy record of poisons. I call it the poison ledger. And I thought it was so awesome and fun to play with, and perfect for Halloween. So I wanted to make sure I got the kit done in time. And so I scanned this. So some of the additional papers are scans of the back cover, gorgeous. Scans of the front cover, of course, gorgeous. Scan of this. And then I also printed a scan of this and did some pages where It's just like messy signatures, like asemic writing where, you know, you can't really read the text, but it looks like text, with splatters of red and all kinds of stuff. And then some funky master boards that I pulled together. And so those are fabulous as backing pages for the kit. And let's see, yeah, you can see I put, this is a very quiet sort of backing paper from the kit, as are these. And again, this is the alternate colorway. The original is that folio that was already put together. And if you just get the folio kit, you're getting everything you need to make what I'm about to show you today, for the folio itself, as well as the tags and journaling cards that go with it. So that's all included in just the base kit. There is a separate add-on ephemera pack, and that's all of the other stuff I showed you when I was flipping through the papers. Tags and envelopes and all kinds of goodies in there. You could buy, you know, if you want to just buy the folio and then decide you like the add-ons, you can get those later separately. There's also a complete folio and add-ons, again, just in the regular colors. Or you can buy the mega pack, the whole shebang, and then you're getting everything for the folio, all of the add-on paper, and ephemera items, and you're getting all of that in 4 different colors. And those are the ones that I showed when we did the original flip through. So this is one of the alternate colors. So you can only get the alternate colors through the mega pack. And I am gonna go ahead and assemble this. I did cut it out just so that no one has to sit and watch me cut. For these gussets, I am going to score them. You do not need a scoreboard. I do find it a little bit easier for me, especially because my hands bother me sometimes, to score these on the fold line, just to make folding a little bit faster and easier. So if you have a scoreboard, highly recommend using it. See, I scored that and I'm still having trouble. I printed this on cardstock, so it is a bit hefty. And I like that just because I feel like it produces a nice sturdy folio at the end. But you can obviously use whatever paper you like. So I'm just gonna go through, and I'll probably cut this bit out so you don't have to watch me score and fold a million pieces, just like I didn't make you watch me cut them out. But again, not absolutely a requirement. By the way, you can probably see my cat. She has decided it's time for some attention. She likes to sit on my stuff. So this is Sassy. Her full name is actually Sasquatch, but we call her Sassy. Yes, who's the most beautiful woman? Yes, you are. And a lot of times she sits with me and unobtrusively helps me craft and make art. At the moment, she really wants to play with my papers. No, don't eat that. We don't eat Mommy's papers. But she's generally a pretty good art cat. So we joke that all of our cats have jobs in the house. Sassy is the art cat, so she makes art with me, which is very important. And then we have wonderful little orange boy, and he is my sous chef. So apologies in advance if this grosses anyone out. You don't have to come eat in my house. But he likes to sit on my kitchen island while I cook. He is very respectful. He does not... Oh, she's chittering at something she sees outside. So if you hear her making really weird noises, she's talking about what what she would do to that prey. We done talking, girl? Okay. So Fizz, the orange cat, is my sous chef. He's very respectful. He doesn't get into the food. He just likes to be part of the process. He wants to be close. And so he just like sits next to me while I chop and watches me while I cook things on the stove. And so he is my sous chef, obviously. And he's also a bathroom attendant. So, you know, not everybody gets to have their own bathroom attendant at their home, and it's just, you know, reserved for like a swanky restaurant or club or something, I guess. But, you know, Fizz likes to make sure that everyone is taken care of, and that includes keeping them company in the bathroom, making sure that you have what you need. And then we also have Peach, and Peach is pest control. She lives for bugs. She waits by the front door because she knows that when the door opens, bugs come in, and occasionally bugs manage to find their way in anyway. And so she knows that there's a good chance they're going to come in from over there, and she will wait, just hoping for a bug. And she will get as high in the house as she can so she can get on top of our cupboards. And I have seen her get up there just for the sheer joy and purpose of catching some sort of flying insect. She eats most of them, so, you know, I don't even have to worry about cleanup. She thinks like moths are super delicious. And here in the spring we have a lot of those like crane flies or millers, depending on where you live, what you call them. They basically look like giant mosquitoes, but they don't bite, so you don't have to worry about mosquito bites. And they get in through the door almost anytime you open it, and she loves them. I think they're probably her favorite. So all the cats have jobs. The dog does not. He is a wonderful, loving Labrador, and he should not be trusted with a job. Sweet, wonderful boy that he is. So he's our little freeloader. I've been talking the whole time, so maybe I won't cut this out. I don't know. Oop. That's the worst part about scoring sometimes, is when you think you've got something on the line, and then you realize that it's going sideways. So hopefully that won't give me any problems later. I really should look on the side there to make sure stuff is lined up before I do this, but sometimes I forget. I have intended to make a lot of journaling videos that I have not gotten around to making. That is largely because I have not had a lot of energy in the last few months, and I don't want to bore you all when I'm like practically falling asleep myself. And you know, junk journaling has been a nice way for me to do a sort of a low energy art, low energy crafting kind of experience. And so as much as I had intended to take everyone kind of on a journey with me while I was learning more about how to do junk journaling, I have found that I more often than not spend my time doing things like watching other people do junk journaling on YouTube while I work on my own stuff quietly alongside them, and it's been really nice. It's been really soothing. And so as much as there's a part of me that regrets not taking some opportunities to film more of that and put it up on the channel, I honestly am really glad that I've done it the way I have, because it's given me a really nice space to just sit and make stuff. You know, when you have the opportunity to just quietly sit and cut paper and fold paper and glue paper and mass make little clusters or something and not really think about anything else, there's probably nothing I find more soothing than that. I love painting, but for me, most of the time when I'm painting and I'm working on art, I am, I don't know, it's not work. It doesn't feel like work in the same way as like work. But it is a little bit more cerebral. It is a little bit something that I try to do when I have enough energy, because painting and making art often requires a lot of problem solving. And so if I don't have a lot of energy, I don't really want to have to think about how to fix something that didn't work the way I expected, or, you know, any of that kind of stuff. So, but junk journaling, I can just pick up and like I said, just glue, fold, not really think about it. Okay, I've got to cut this guy before I glue him. And I didn't have to back all of these, which I didn't realize at the time. Again, low energy craft means sometimes you make mistakes. In this case, I just sort of over prepared my stuff, because I got through almost all of the folio printing before realizing that I didn't have to print the back of most of the pages. And by the time I realized that, I had one page left, and it was the one that this was on. And you will see this. So I absolutely had to print the back on that one. But look, oh no, that's right. I had more than one. It just so happened that one of them I still had to print on, but this one I didn't. Yay, saved myself from printing on one whole page of the kit. But I print double-sided on papers with the ephemera most of the time, because that just saves time when you don't have to obviously decorate the back, like glue paper onto it or do a bunch of inking and stamping and stuff like that, all of which is fun. But I like to do that because it's something I want to do, not something that I need to do for my project to look okay in the most basic sense. So yeah, you don't have to print double-sided on most of the folio pages. The only ones that I really strongly recommend you print double-sided on, as you might imagine, will be these, because this is going to be, actually, let's just go ahead and fold that, the main portion of the folio, and you will see parts of both sides. So they might as well look good. Okay, couple fun things. I did not cut this as straight as I thought I did, because it seems like it's folded pretty straight. It'll be fine. And same here. I'm just gonna trim that little extra bit. I thought I got all of these, but every so often, depending on how you cut or how you fold, you might just have a little extra piece of gusset sticking out, and that's an easy fix. So we are almost there. I have really mixed feelings about gussets. Frankly, it's just easy and clean to have, you know, pockets and stuff that you glue on all, you know, on 2 or 3 sides, without any extra paper to fold like this to create those gussets. So I don't really enjoy the process of gusseting. I don't really like having to cut out the extra bits, fold them. It can be challenging because sometimes you have a little bit of that, you know, extra line showing up. If you don't get the fold 100% exactly right. But the alternative is that when you glue straight down without that gusset, you do 2 things. One, you're obviously not able to put something inside that is almost the same size and shape as your pocket, for example, because a big portion, probably about 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 if you're really careful and really lucky, and you don't have any extra glue spilling anywhere, but you're probably losing a bit of it there. You're also making it tighter because it's going to sit flush against whatever you've glued it to, and so the thickness of your item impacts, you know, what size you can fit in and all of that. So gussets are really helpful in allowing you to, you know, decorate a lot more and fit those kinds of things inside. I really just, I was actually going to try with some of these. This one's not as big an issue. For one of these folios, thank you, Sassy. I was actually going to try cutting off the bottom gusset because I do find that sometimes when I put a tag in or a journaling card in or something like that, that it gets hung up on the lip of the bottom gusset, and I wouldn't mind the opportunity to try without it because the length of the item I don't mind as much. It's sticking out one way or another. No, what are you? Don't eat my stuff. We've talked about this. So, but I don't know. Then of course I'm still losing. Quit trying to eat my stuff, Sassy. I'm still losing that bit of space. So I'm not sure that it's really helping me all that much. If you see in I'm grabbing the most recent prototype, and I made some changes to things, and I didn't print all of the ephemera on the weight of paper that I normally would. So, but here we have this journaling card, right? And it is large enough. The length is just long enough that it should fit in, because we do have that gusset. It should really fit all the way to the bottom and stick out just a hair. But oftentimes when I put it in, it gets kind of hung up on the lip of that little gusset, and I find that I have to put in something like this to make sure that that gusset is pushed down. So don't love that. That's something that I need to play with. If you have recommendations or ideas, those of you who've you know, been doing these, or I'd love to know your preferences. I'd love to know your thoughts, because it drives me a little bit batty and I don't have a great answer for it just yet. All right, we've got to cut out this one extra little piece from this pocket, and I'm gonna do a tiny bit of inking. I don't feel like this kit really needs any inking. It's got a lot of distressing directly on the paper. The one big benefit to inking is that if you are like me and there are spots where the gusset maybe peeked through just a bit more than intended, you can cover that up. So I'm probably going to grab something pretty dark and go from there. Ooh, let's grab black soup. That's pretty dark, isn't it? And this is my Spooky Time Halloween kit after all. You know what? It is time to replace, or almost time to replace this dauber anyhow. So I'm just going to use the one I use for all my browns and pop it in the black. That is also because I'm lazy and I don't feel like getting a different one out right now. Well, not really lazy. I just don't feel like it. I'm, you know, making this. I'm talking to you. It's another thing I gotta do. It's slowing me down from assembling my kit. So, I don't feel like it. Because I'm really, the main goal here, other than for me to have one finally fully finished folio, that, you know, has all of the final pieces, since that other one I just showed you a minute ago is, you know, was my final prototype, and there were a few tiny changes left in there. It'd be nice to just see one put all together, and I'm really excited to particularly do that with one of the ones that is an alternate color, because I had a lot of fun, and it actually took a lot of work going through and making those alternate colors. I just thought, you know, different people have different tastes, and I really love color. Like this, this is so beautiful in its original form, as a copy of that actual vintage book, and I love that. But I am one of those people who just really likes a lot of color, and so it was fun. There's one of these, like all of the alternative colors ended up having some pink in them, and that has more to do with the base color that we were working with all of those like orangey rusty kind of colors, that the things that looked best as alternates tended to be a bit pinkish, and that just worked out that way. I'm pretty sure that future kits, if I do alternate colors, will have their own nuances, but there is one of these that is just like pink, like so pink, and I love it. I love it so much. I almost did that for this video, but I am recording this towards the end of September, so everybody's getting in the spooky fall Halloween spirit, and I wanted to use one of the colors that was made a little bit more sense for this time of year. So I went with this alternative, which is a lot of really lovely pink and orange and some sort of like blue-gray tones, which is why I think the black looks so good for this. Did I already do you? I thought I did this one already, but I must have been, no, it's one of the other pockets, one of the other small pockets that I did. So many pockets in this folio. And of course, again, if you just buy the folio itself and none of the add-on ephemera, you still have a really complete kit. You get you get tags and journaling cards, enough to fill each of the pockets. And then you can, you know, write on them, decorate them, use them however you want. This would be a great little ephemera storage kind of kit, great place to keep stuff. Or it'd be really fun to make, if you have all of the pieces, at least, you know, the kit and the add-on pack, you can really make you know, a pretty decent journal out of it, because you're going to have all of the papers and all of the extra stuff. You could make something large and tuck the folio inside it. That would also be really cool. So there's a lot of room to play there. And if you're not an inker, 'cause honestly, sometimes I'm really not. Again, you don't have to. This is nicely distressed as it is. I just feel like, especially with this alternate color in particular, that the whitish bits that are peeking out where I didn't get deep enough into the gusset when I folded look a little stark. Alternatively, you could distress the sides with a little bit of sandpaper and intentionally bring out that white. It kind of also depends on the paper you print on. Sometimes I use this wonderful paper. It's a little bit heavier. It's not quite cardstock heavy, but it is getting closer to cardstock than in, you know, normal copy paper. And it comes in multiple shades, multiple neutral shades, from mostly white to off-white all the way through to about a craft cardstock kind of a brown. And this kind of thing would look really nice printed on that dark cardstock. I didn't want to do that. For this particular video, because I wanted to highlight, you know, how these papers print in a way that is, most people are going to print them. But, you know, if I had used some of that brown cardstock color, then I don't think that would have needed any inking at all, even for the parts that could have definitely, again, just distressed them a little bit, make sure that the brown comes through. You know, the wonderful thing about these kinds of digital kits in particular is that they are just a lot of fun to use differently than intended. So, you know, I'm definitely going to show you the way that this kit goes together in a very conventional sense. But you don't have to use it that way. And that is one of the things that I think is most fun about art and about craft in a very general sense. You know, I do a lot of mixed media art, and I can confidently say that I do not use a lot of the materials in the way that they are intended by the people who made them, and I think that's wonderful. All right, so the way that this is put together, I'm just going to show you real fast. You have your front, and then this extra piece that we're going to glue on here. So it is important to make sure that you get that glued on the side of the front cover. Again, unless you feel like doing something different, which is absolutely your right. But if you want to make it like I'm making it today, if you want to make it in the way that the kit was originally designed, then what you would do here is take your glue and put it on your gusset, and I am going to have my precision nozzle on this glue right now, so it takes an extra minute for me to glue. All right, let me pop that on, and I'm just trying to make sure I have it lined up properly. And I think we've got it. So that's honestly one of the hardest things about assembling this entire kit, is just getting those things on properly. And if I was more persnickety and had thought about this in advance, I would have printed the backing papers so that they line up with each other, and thought about the direction there, or used a different backing paper. I think the other kits all have, yeah. So this is one of the other alternative colors. It's a bit more of like a more muted pink and a green. It goes a bit more yellow, so it's sort of on the warm scale. But you know, with that background, it really doesn't matter. With this one, it matters a little, but I'm okay with it. I don't actually think it's the end of the world. If you do, if that's the kind of thing that bothers you, then don't do it like I just did it. This will cover part of that. Oops, I almost put that on the wrong spot. Not this. One of the other pockets will cover part of that. This goes here on this flap. Again, the way that the kit was designed, that's what it does. So we're just gonna glue. I hope that I'm reasonably in shot. For the record, in case you're curious about the glue I'm using, or this handy dandy gadget, this is a glue press. I mentioned earlier that I have some trouble with my hands sometimes, and so grip strength is not my strength, and sometimes I find it painful or even difficult to squeeze glue out of a bottle, especially when it has a nice little precision tip on it like this one does. This is from my Sweet Petunia. It's a glue press. It does come with some of this Nuvo glue, tonic Nuvo glue. It comes with a refillable bottle that you can use any other glue of your choosing. They do provide some instructions about which glues it's suitable for, so not every other glue, but most glues. And it comes with one bottle of the tonic Nuvo glue, which I happen to really like. So, as I understand it, I have actually not used art glitter glue. I know that that's one of the treasured glues in the junk journaling community, but I also understand that it tends to dry so quickly that you really don't have a lot of room to move things around. So if you put this in and realize you don't like the positioning, I find that I have a little bit more wiggle room. And it seems like from other people whose videos I've watched and stuff that there's just a little bit more time with the Nuvo. Not forever. You're not waiting forever, but you can move things around. So now I have to remember what else goes where. I believe this guy goes here. Let me just double check. Yep. Perfect. So we've got this pocket here. It's one of my favorite pieces of the whole thing. I love the way that pocket looks. And the whole kit is based around poison, obviously, since that was the inspiration, was that book of Poisons Sold, that record of Poisons Sold. I just thought, you know, let's make it all about poison, especially old-timey poison. So there's a lot of I took a lot of like old pharmacy labels, you know, apothecary type themed stuff, and used that in the design of the folio and the accompanying ephemera. But in addition to those, I added in some art, just some sketchy line drawings of poisonous plants, because I love any excuse to work botanical stuff in. I got glue where I don't want glue. This baby wipe is going to remove a bit of the color. I use a laser printer. I know a lot, or most people, it sounds like, who do junk journaling use inkjet, and I used to have an inkjet, but we did not get along because I don't know, particularly when we moved from Virginia, just outside of DC, back to Arkansas, where my husband's family is from. And in the process of that move, I found that my inkjet printer, very temperamental, and I had to run a cleaning job on it and a testing job pretty much every single time I ever did any printing, which was very frustrating, and wasted an awful lot of ink. And I eventually got to the point where I think there was one night I spent an hour running cleaning on it, and by the time it started to print correctly for me, it ran out of some color of ink and wouldn't print anymore at all. Yay. And I basically gave up on it at that point. So I got a laser jet, and while it does limit me in some ways, I really do prefer it. So, all right. There are a lot of pockets that go on the inside of this. You can see I just lined them up where most of them go, so that I can add them in the right order, in the right places. So we're just about to go on a gluing frenzy. Okay. I always feel like I am not going to line stuff up, but that seems like it worked out pretty well. I also feel almost like I have too much room. Oh, no, that'll be just fine. One of the things I do highly recommend when you're working with this folio or any folio, make sure that you don't glue things right up to the sides. I actually used a little template for these that I purchased from another creator. I think it's Wildwood Publishing. Makes a bunch of different junk journal templates so that if you have ideas for art and design, you can plug them in without having to reinvent the wheel for designing these kinds of folios or pieces of ephemera. It makes it easier. Or you can make modifications. And that's what I needed to do with this one. Some of the pocket pieces went right up to the edges, and I found that I couldn't fold things, so I had to make adjustments to the size so that when I glued them in, they didn't go straight up to those creases, and I could ensure that everything would fold up nicely. So again, when you are working on putting together this folio or any other type of folio or book that's going to have a bunch of pieces going in on and around folds, do be mindful of that, or you will have regrets. I might even still have the original prototype hanging around. Okay, I'm gonna just have to accept the gluey fingers on this one because I had to tuck that gusset in. All right, wipe that glue off so I don't get it on everything else. And yes, that's a baby wipe that I use, and I keep it in this old makeup jar so that I can put it away, and that way if I did a little bit of crafting and I needed to use a wipe, but like it's still got life left in it, rather than just leaving it out and it drying out. I put it away, and that way I can continue to use it and create less waste. I've also recently learned about baby wipes that are like 99% water or something crazy like that, that are pretty eco-friendly and don't create as much actual waste. They break down really well, and so I got some of those to try once I'm done with the packs I'm using now. So again, I'm pushing this up just so that I make sure that I don't put this all the way up to that fold. So essentially making sure that everything is gonna be able to fold after I place this pocket in. So it does go all the way up to the top and all the way to the bottom, and I think that looks really nice and it doesn't impede anything functionally. But yeah, we're gonna be able to close this all the way. Yay! All right, we have done 4 out of 8 interior pockets. So we are on a roll, and I am ready. So ready to have this put together. I'm really excited to see how it looks in this color. I didn't do any of the alternative colors until the kit was all done and ready, because I didn't want to create more work for myself. But that means that even though I put together prototypes over and over and over and over, that I actually haven't seen any of them in the alternative colors until I started printing things to show to you. Now, this is one of those that I think you can go a bunch of different ways. So it is, I like to center the front pocket on the back pocket. You could put it, you know, deeper into the crease. That way you could move it so that it's centered and not flush with the bottom. You could move it up. So whatever you think looks best. This is, I think, how I normally go with it, but that is something to think about before you glue it on. All right. So either you found this video because you know, it showed up in your YouTube feed. Maybe you subscribe. Yay, awesome. Or maybe you just were watching something similar and or managed to search for something that brought this to you, which is cool. If that's the case, then if I haven't mentioned this before, and I say before because technically I still have to do a voiceover to some of the stuff from the beginning. I did not, okay. Should have double checked that, but it is nicely centered from the crease. So I still have to do a voiceover, which means there's stuff that I haven't yet said, but that you've heard if you made it this far. You can find a link to my Etsy shop in the details. So if you scroll below the video here and click on more, you will find information for things like my YouTube, or not my YouTube, my Etsy. See, this is what happens. I'm focused on gluing. I'm not using my good words. So you find a link to my shop where you can go buy this if it's something that you want to make, you know, yourself. Or you found this YouTube because you bought the kit from Etsy. Maybe you found it on Etsy first, and I will have a link from Etsy to this YouTube video with the instructions on how to assemble the folio. And if that's the case, then, you know, welcome. And for any of you who are watching, no matter how you got here, if you haven't already, please, you know, if you are enjoying what you're watching, give it a like. Go ahead and subscribe so that you can see new videos as they come out. As I either release new kits or do other junk journaling activities or other types of art activities. Hey, look at that. The one thing I will say I did not include as part of the overall assembly, that's up to you, is how you want to close this. So there are a lot of different closure options. I have a tendency to just like to tie things with a little bit of ribbon or sari silk or cord or something. That often works for me. Some people I know really like to do belly bands, and I use those for a lot of my smaller journals in particular. You could also do something like a policy closure. In that case, you would want to put your brad on before you installed these pockets, so that you could have the brad for the policy closure pieces hidden by those pockets. I love the way those look. I just don't always love the extra bulk, and since I do find that things sometimes catch when you slide them in, that is just not my favorite. Again, I like to just tie things up with a little bit of cord or something. I like the way that looks. I like the convenience of being able to just unwrap and leave it open. There's so many different ways that people find for closing up their journals, or if this is something you use in a larger journal, you might not care about a closure because you're just going to fold it up and tuck it into a little pocket. Oh, speaking of pockets, sometimes for my journals, I will just literally fold up some paper that I painted on, glue and sew it, and make a little pocket to slide things in. This one's not for this journal, but it works wonderfully, and it just looks really cool, I feel like. So, did I get glue where I don't? No, I think we're good. I will say that's the other benefit of a gusset, is that if you get glue where you did not intend, the gusset sort of naturally pushes the pocket away, you know, the front of the pocket kind of away from whatever you've glued to, and that keeps it from, you know, getting glue on it if you were a little overzealous with your glue, which I sometimes am. All right, we are gluing on the final pocket for the folio, and then I'll be able to show you how it looks with all of the final ephemera inside. And I also will probably glue, this little label comes with it. It comes in a different shape, but I don't always like cutting the fancy shapes. I like giving you the fancy shape if you want to cut it that way. And that way, if you don't love the fancy shape and you don't want to do all of the fussy cutting, you can just cut a square or rectangle in this case, I guess, and be done with it. So that is what I did, because again, I don't love fussy cutting. Even with a lot of the ephemera, you know, they'll have rounded edges like these, and these aren't the best example because they're a little bit more stretched than your usual corner rounder. But this one, I just cut a square, so I cut all around this, but I left the edges square and then came back in behind it with my corner rounder. So if you have a corner rounder, it's not like it's required. It's got rounded edges that you can just cut, you know, but if you have a corner rounder and you want to use it, that is a good way. So I could put that there, or there, or inside somewhere. I think I like it here today. I like the way that the orangey color looks next to that pink. All right, so I'm gonna glue it on. I'm gonna use my glue stick. These are my favorite glue sticks by far. We're just gonna use this. Companies send me catalogs that I never order anything from. As far as I'm concerned, they're just giving me paper to use for collage, or in this case, glue pages. So this is my favorite glue stick by far. It is a Yamato. I buy them on Amazon. Depending on where you live, you may or may not be able to get it. It comes in that size. It also comes in a larger stick size, like that. So it's a nice chunkier stick for gluing larger things together. And I haven't tried them myself, but they also have disappearing color ones, I think. So if you like to be able to see the color as you're putting the glue on the paper, and make sure that you've covered all your areas, they have that too. It is the only glue stick I have found that is not super goopy, because I do use Uhu from time to time. I know that a lot of people really love their Uhu sticks. I think it's just where I live, and the fact that it's really hot around here all the time and often very humid. That thing gets so goopy and like clumpy and weird on me. The Yamato stays nice and smooth. It glides on really well, and it sticks, like it holds. I have yet to find another glue stick that does both those things. So I love my Yamato. All right. So I didn't print the ephemera on cardstock. These are, I think, all on matte photo paper. So something with a little bit, again, more body than your typical copy paper, but I just didn't feel like I needed to use cardstock for absolutely everything. I can't remember where some of these are meant to go in, so if you see me goofing around and moving things from place to place to place, we'll get there eventually. All right, I believe this is where all of my tag shapes go. Where's my tag? Or I shouldn't say all of my tag shapes go there. All of the things in these pockets are tags. So there we go. And then, let's see. I feel like that probably goes there. And that probably goes there. And by the way, you can put these wherever you want. I am putting them in the places where I believe I measured specifically for them to fit, but you can put them anywhere they fit. You can skip these all together and use your own. The world's your oyster. Do what works for you, right? I am not at all, let's see, I think I'm gonna do this one in here. Oh, hey, the gusset's lip is not giving me problems today. So maybe I just didn't glue it very well last time. Very, very possible. Let's put you in here, maybe? Or I think the lords and ladies were meant to go in there. Yeah. All right. So these are all of the interior tags. I can ink those up. I'm not going to make you watch me ink them all. This goes in here, unless you don't like it there and you want to put it somewhere else. And then we have another big long pocket here. That one, my gusset lip is giving me more of a problem. Oop, there we go. Nice. Nothing fell apart. Love that. Love to see it. Let's put that there. And that there. And in the prototype, I actually folded this, and I like that because I didn't want to cover over my little Poison record book here, but I still wanted to have a pocket there. I think it looks fine covered over, but I also kind of like folding it up and keeping it, look how neatly that, you could put a little tab on there so you can easily grab it and move it in and out. And then we've got just a couple extra things that you can put wherever you like to have them, or use them interchangeably. So if you, oh, I like that. So you have some choices, you have some options, you have some extras. And this is all pulled together now. And again, this is available as a standalone kit with everything you see here, or you can get the add-on pages, which include things, again, like I showed earlier, these. And these are all made, I printed all the ones that are in the same colorway so that I can do a full journal and include this folio with it. If you get the mega pack with the additional colors, then you will get all of the journal kits in all of the different color options. So here they are. I'll go ahead and lay them out. And hopefully everything's reasonably in frame. So that's the original. That's the one we just made. This is the more greenish one, which I really was torn between the greenish one and the one I made. And that label, see, this is the fancy cutout of the label. I did do it. I think I maybe messed up in cutting the one I was working on for this and didn't want to mess with it. I just dropped something. And then this is that really, really pink one again, which, like, when you're in the mood for this kind of pink, you're in the mood for this kind of pink, and it is going to absolutely meet that need. And you can mix and match. I mean, a lot of these, because they all have sort of the same DNA, like, they're gonna work together in different ways. Like, so you don't have to limit yourself. All right, I hope you found at least the construction portion of this instructive, and it gave me an opportunity to share some of my favorite tips that I've been learning while I've been getting more comfortable with junk journaling on my own, about, you know, gusset or no gusset, what glue do I like, those kinds of things. But it also shows off what is available to you if this is a kit you would like, and helps you kind of understand the different options. So again, if you want all the colors and all the stuff, get the mega pack. If all you want is the folio, just get the standalone folio. It'll come in this color. If you want the folio and all of the extra ephemera, you can get the combo folio and add-on kit. If you buy the folio by itself and then realize you want the add-on kit, you can get it. So you have a lot of different options. It really just depends on what you like to make, what you like to do, and what calls to you. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, please like and subscribe if you did, and I'll see you next time.